Hi, my name's Muzzy, and I'm gonna tell you how I made my first animatic.
With a trail of bodies. Ooh! I see a song of past romance. I see the sacrifice of man. I see portrayals of betrayal. Brace for a storm.
The first thing you're gonna need for an animatic is an idea, and for me, mine was that at a very specific point in the song No Longer You from Epic the Musical, I wanted the blind prophet to turn around, and after not looking at our main character directly for most of the song, because, I mean, you know, he's blind, suddenly he just stares into Odysseus' soul. Sort of like this. It's no longer you. Yeah, that's pretty spooky. I could have just made that and called it a day, but I really want to get better at drawing this year by making animatics, and I hate myself. So I was gonna need some more inspiration, which then led me down the rabbit hole of watching lots and lots of epic animatics. Ooh, look at this. He's a sheep, that's so sick. I love the dancing. Cinema. Absolute cinema. After wasting about a month watching animatics, I thought it was finally time for me to start working on my own. But if I wanted my animatic to be unique, I didn't want to make my storyboard right after watching so many other people's animatics. I needed to re-engage with the story itself and try and find some details that maybe other people haven't added. And for that, we're gonna need the source material. What can I say? I'm an English major. So, small problem with that. I think I left my copy of the Odyssey at home, which is 3 hours away. I guess that means we go to the library. Alright. So it looks like Odysseus puts his sword into his sheath before talking to the prophet, so that's something that we can do. Odie also talks about his mom a lot with the prophet. There's a sacrifice with a sheep to summon the prophet, and the prophet comes in drinking the sheep's blood. Then Odie sees the spirits of all his buddies who died from the Trojan War, like Achilles and Agamemnon. Maybe they could be in that chorus section at the end. Also, it turns out Hera turned Tiresias into a woman for 7 years. Why do people think these books are boring? All this cool stuff really motivated me, so I pulled out my iPad and I cranked out a few thumbnails. Once I was done, I was ready to go home, and it's already dark? Part 2, the storyboard. Alright, first thing I had to do was just rip the band-aid off and make the rough pass. This was mostly just me trying to lay out the composition of the different shots and scenes, and it sort of looked like this. Ew, what is that? Why am I showing this to you guys? I feel naked right now. Then I did another rough sketch using some of the ideas we got from the book, like Tiresias and the sheep's blood and Odysseus and his sword. At this point, I probably should have done some character designs and sketches just to have some references while working on the animation, but I didn't because I thought the characters were simple enough. I mean, this guy is the prophet. He's got a blindfold, a stick, and a hood. This guy is Mr. Jalapeno. He's got a sword, some floofy hair, and sandals. While these elements did stay the same for most of the animatic, I did make some mistakes here and there. Like the amount of hair Tiresias had coming out of his hood kept changing, and I would often forget to draw these little stripes on Odie's sleeves. And you can really tell which parts of the animatic I did last versus first, because by that time I was pretty comfortable and knew how to draw the characters by then. But if I had references, they would have been way more consistent. I mean, look at these three distinguished gentlemen. I think I like this one the best. However, I think the thing I'm most proud of for this animatic, especially at this stage, was the composition. I think I was able to be a little bit more creative with the shots you guys got to see. A lot of animatics sort of suffer from what I call over-the-shoulder syndrome, like, I'm singing my part, now I'm singing my part, now it's back to me. Part 3. I mean, you saw the title, but in case you forgot, I'm gonna level with you guys. I've never really made an animatic before. I guess I should say a true animatic with movement and different shots and stuff. I mean, I made this Matilda one a while ago, which surprisingly did very good, but it's more like a picture music video than an animatic. Whoa, look at that iMovie Ken Burns effect on a drawing I spent 2 hours on.
Why? Just you wait for visits.
There's also the video that shall not be named. Oh god. Why did I do an airbrush on his hair?
Hey, Hamlet.
Oh yeah, I thought I was so clever for this. That actually wasn't too bad. Probably the only other animation that I've made that I'm particularly proud of is this video, which I guess I could say is my old animation style.
Lower the drawbridge. Okay. 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 Oh, thank you. See, that wasn't so bad. Wait, no, wait!
Which, you know, it's fun, and it might be good for some silly videos, but probably not for the animatics. I mean, could you imagine? I'm just a man. so I needed to watch some tutorials really quick. Definitely some of my favorites were Storm Myth's animatic tutorial and Jasmine slash Spacebar's breakdown of her Warrior the Mine animatic, and my ultimate favorite tutorial, Sheen's, which is kind of a meme video, but it does really help anyone who wants to know the bare bone basics in a really silly way. Fun fact, Sheen and I have the same Polish SZ sound in our names, but I don't go by Mushi because I heard from some German friends that it's a naughty word in part 4, making the dang thing.
We did it, Joe.
Time I've unlocked it.
We made one line of the song. Let's go!
Alright everybody, this video has gone on for a long time and we finally got to the part where I made most of the animatic, and for that, I made the animatic. It's a little boring. Basically all I did was I planned the picture, I draw the picture, I shaved a file, I named a file, I open Premiere Pro, I find a file, I dragged a file, and aw crap, his arm's weird. And then, you know, you just do that. More times. Alright, I'll still talk about some things that I learned for anyone who wants to know how to make animatics. Number 1, transform tool. Oh hey Mushy, that movement looks pretty dog shit, but it looks a little better than if you just did this. How you do that? Oh, well thank you so much, I'm so glad you asked. Basically, if you want your movement to be a little bit more fluid, use your drawing program's transform tool or selection tool or whatever they call it to skew the drawing into the direction you're gonna go. Or you can also use it to give some more subtle movements like a character breathing or settling into a pose. How did I learn how to do this? I just watched Animatics very closely. No, I mean, if we take this one by Gigi really quick, you can use the buttons on your keyboard to go frame by frame, back and forth, and you could be able to see how they do things. And so if you want to learn animation, this is really helpful. Like even if not even just animatics, you could just do this with anime or like Disney movies. You could just watch the frames and you're like, oh, that picture turns into that picture, and that's why my eyeball thinks that it's moving. So anyway, if I got one drawing here and my next drawing is going to be over there, I'm going to make it kind of look like this for a little bit so that we could go to the next one. Some people like to get around this whole process with the bouncy thing, which looks like this, which I did a couple of times in the animatic, like here, but I don't know. I just don't really like the look of it, especially when it's there all the time for like every movement. For an example of that, look at this really old project I did in high school. Why are they bouncing all over the place? Number B, cell shading. Disclaimer, I'm definitely changing this for future animatics. Sure, you could shade your short little guys if you want, but I'm done with doing that. It made every frame take longer, and therefore with my lazy mind, I didn't want to make more frames for a scene than the bare minimum I needed to, which probably made some shots look not as good as others. The only time where I didn't shade was during the red bit, which I think looks the best in the whole animatic. But if you're stronger than me and you want to know, basically what I'd do is I'd draw the picture, then underneath it I'd make a layer for the color, then I'd make a base color with the fill tool, then I'd hit select all in that layer and then shade on top of that while having the selection so that I could be pretty messy with the shading and not go outside the lines. Number final, don't be a perfectionist. The biggest challenge I gave myself was to not get too hung up on every single frame, which was very difficult for me. But if I wanted to get this thing done in this lifetime, I needed to put away that version of me that draws the same line over and over and over again. There comes a point in any art project where you're sort of hit by reality and know that you could either never finish it because it's not how you originally wanted it to be, or you can make it how you can make it. Part 5, colors.
To a power like this. What was it? A woman. What?
Of all the epic animatics, Gigi's are the best. I know, normie take, but what can I say? I'm a big fan. Probably my favorite thing about her animatics are her use of color. Sometimes you can recognize which animatic you're watching simply by the color scheme, and I think that's so cool. I think a lot of people when they start making animatics typically focus more on their lines and composition in black and white or a gradient or solid color background. But I really wanted to use color for my animatics to be like Gigi's. But I've always had a problem with using color and understanding color theory because, lore time, I'm colorblind. Red, green specifically. So what colors would I be using for this animatic? Guys? What colors? I can't see the colors. I'm kidding. It's not that bad. It's just sometimes I struggle picking vibrant color schemes for green and red since the two of them just sort of look gray and brown to me. So I found a solution. I just pulled up Epic the Musical art and used the color picker. I'm a thief, I'm sorry. But this is also a good time to talk about sending your work in progress to friends and family to get some feedback on how you're doing. When I showed snippets of my Animatic to my friends, they liked the colors, so we're good to go. That's this, what I learned. Well, that's it. The end. Fiend. We did it. The Animatic is up now and you can watch it and let me know what you think. I really love Epic. It's my new obsession, but honestly, it's sort of not because I've always loved Greek mythology and the Odyssey specifically. The whole community aspect of this musical is awesome, and I sort of think it's what Homer would have wanted. The Odyssey is a story passed down from centuries of oral tradition. It's poetry. It's not meant to be stuck in a dusty old book. It's supposed to be sung with your friends and inspire art. I really hope to make all 40 songs of the musical, and hopefully you will be able to watch me grow and improve along the way. And speaking of that, I think the biggest thing I learned was that I love making process-based content. So if you follow this channel, I hope you're okay with receiving lots and lots of updates or little videos where I show you what I'm figuring out. I mean, for one, it's what Jay did. We got to follow Epic as it grew and changed over the years. And two, I might get up on my soapbox here, but I think being more open to process-based content is one of the ways we as artists and audiences can fight back against AI art. That's not to say that I'm at all worried that AI is going to make something that resembles my art, but it's a way to show your work. Making things shouldn't be a lonely profession, and it often feels that way in a product-based way of viewing things. Showing your process, no matter how ugly it looks, is your power to say, hey, I made this. In an end product-based world, you potentially work for months and months on a project only for it to hopefully make the big number of validation points at the end. And that can feel really lonely and distant. And I like to think that the least I can do is show you guys a little bit of how I do it, so that maybe you guys can learn something too from my many, many mistakes. Like, what the heck is that thing?
I came in a bit